Voting for new Tshwane mayor has finally started. The multi-party has officially nominated Cilliers Brink, while the ANC-EFF partnership have nominated Ofentse Moalusi as the mayoral candidate. The EFF and ANC backtracked from their initial plans to support Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania councillor Molwantwa Tshabadi for the mayorship. Moalusi has filled the one seat left vacant by former council speaker Dr. Moalusi, who later resigned after a short stint as mayor following his fake insolvency clearance certificate. Justice Sifanyetso, who was initially introduced as the new councillor, has since been removed by a coalition led by Johannesburg Council Speaker Colleen Makubela. Brink and Moalusi are among the 7 councillors sworn in this morning. Right, and we're now joined via Zoom by political analyst Rebone Tau to weigh in on the developments in the city of Tshwane. Very good afternoon to you, Rebone. Always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Good afternoon, Flo, and good afternoon to the viewers at home.
All right, so what has been your perception of what has been taking place in the Tshwane Council? Of course, the mayor of Tshwane to be elected anytime soon. Look, we've said this before and we've seen how that has played out. But as you've watched this sort of, unfolding, what has been your reaction to it all?
I think what is most sad is that Tshwane is not just any municipality in this country. I mean, this is the capital city. This is a city that after Washington, we've got the biggest diplomatic community in the world, and to be seeing all this politics playing out, it's a bit disappointing, because also from an international perspective, it gives a very worrisome picture about the political landscape in South Africa. I mean, for an example, we have seen yesterday, I mean, there was so much confusion also around the city that the city manager has called the sitting and then undermining the speaker, but also I think what was very interesting, even earlier on, I spoke to someone who's in the speaker's office in the City of Tshwane, and they said in their lifetime they had never thought that one day you'll have someone from the ATM leading as the Speaker of Council. So the game that the EFF and the ANC is playing, it's very worrying, because these are lives of citizens in the city of Tshwane. This delays also issues around service delivery. The ANC and the EFF needs to stop playing this game, because I think initially, if they had fielded even a candidate from either side, but they decided not to. But we've seen this trend in Gauteng, started in Joburg supporting a councillor from a minority party, and we're seeing it in Tshwane, And what is interesting about Tshwane, that Tshwane, it's a very close one, because we know that the DA and the Action SA were not even happy, with the election of Makwarela, and also suspecting that some of their members might have voted, with the ANC and the EFF and the other smaller parties.
Yeah. And I mean, even if we do see, a mayor being elected, we're still going to sort of see the same issues and problems, whether it is we see Cilliers Brink becoming the mayor, or whether it is we see Ofentse Moalusi becoming the mayor. The fact of the matter, and as you say, as you call it, there is this game that is being played, and that there seems to never be a need or want for there to be some sort of unity in the whole council. So regardless of how it plays out, are we likely then still to see this bickering, the fighting, all of that we've been watching as the Tshwane Council has been, in fact, electing?
Absolutely. I mean, I think coalition parties, are the most very complex, in their nature. And I think one of the things I've been saying, actually, we need to look at since 2016, what has led to the collapse of many coalition governments at a local government, because this is not a new thing where you see a mayor being removed or a speaker being removed. And if we were to really look and to zoom and to try to understand, and trying to find solutions to avoid a situation where this coalition government continue to collapse? Because I can tell you, for an example, last year there was a delegation to, I think, I think Denmark or Netherlands, to go and learn about how coalitions are done in Europe. The problem was the leaders from South Africa are going to learn, but not look at the South African context, and really trying to really be also honest amongst themselves, as coalition partners, because the reality of the matter, these coalition partners are not even informed by ideology. It's more about individual interests, within the different parties. I've spoken to some even at national level of the African National Congress, and those leaders are a bit surprised that all these coalition talks are happening in Gauteng, and they seem not to even understand what informs this coalition discussions, especially because we can see that the EFF and the ANC are working together, but they're not doing it officially, but they're doing it very quietly, and for an example, Corona became a speaker, working very closely with the DA, and all of a sudden when he no longer agrees with the DA, then these things are coming out now in the public domain that actually question that his election as a councillor in the first place was not supposed to have happened.
Yeah. And I mean, the biggest problem, and I keep raising this issue, and, I'd love your analysis on this, the biggest problem for the people of Tshwane, because at the end of the day, they would be the victims of what's playing out at the Tshwane Council. What does this then say about the sort of leadership that they have there, first of all? But also, what has been important when we're talking about Tshwane, which is service delivery. While we're having the leadership squabbles and all the problems that we're having in the Tshwane Council, I can't imagine there's any time to actually lead and indeed be on the ground and be delivering a service. So, what do you make of that?
I think this just merely says that across all political parties, there's challenges, there's weaknesses. This shows that we don't have, even strong opposition parties. We don't have especially in Tshwane, there is no outright winner. So that means that all the parties, are facing their own internal challenges. For the DA even to get a member of parliament to resign and come and contest mayoralship, it also raises a lot of questions about the DA, that also they don't have confidence in the leaders that they've been having in council for all these years. So unfortunately, unless if we have parties that are very strong in this country, we'll not see any difference. We'll see the politics of this country degenerating to the level that we're seeing today.
All right, Rebone, as always, a pleasure having you on the show. We appreciate your input. Rebone Tau, their political analyst, weighing in, of course, on the goings-on in the Tshwane Council. Voting for new Tshwane Mayor has finally started, and we'll certainly keep you updated with that story.